How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chav Beis, Daf 22 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends, what can I tell you about Daf 22? The first part is, I'd say, on the relatively to very interesting sort of evaluation. It's cool. And then we get to Mishnah at the bottom of Beis Amud Aleph. Very technical. I'd say pretty technical. And that's Chav Beis. I don't think it should be such a big daf. So here we go. We're going to start on Daf Chav Beis Amud Aleph, about 10-15 lines in, by Hanu Dikuloi, yeah? So Dikuloi are people who sell like baskets and stuff. So remember, Rav Huna Bar Rav Yoshua had said yesterday that, now remember, yesterday is relative. It's now Sunday and I recorded that on Friday. So if my memory serves me. So Rav Huna Bar Rav Yoshua had said that if merchants come from outside of the city, the people in the city could say, like, hey, don't come take our livelihood away from us. So now, says the Gemara, however, Hanu Dikuloi, the Aisu Dikloi Libavel. So there were these like basket merchants who were bringing their baskets to the one second. Okay. To the city of Bavel. Apparently there was also a city called Bavel. Also Bnei Masa Kama Akve Ilavayu. Now the people of the city said, wait, one second, we have our own basket people, and like we want the business. We don't want you coming and interfering with our livelihoods. Also the comment of Ravina, so it came before Ravina. Amarlu, and he says to them, Me alma asu la'amali zabnu. Look, on the market day in Bavel, in the city of Bavel, so on the market day, it's not just the people of Bavel who are going to the market. People come from the local towns and things as well in order to buy at the market. So therefore, just like people come from outside of the town to buy, so people can also come from outside of the town to sell, right? Meaning, if they were just coming, if it was all an entirely local market, and they're coming and now, they're coming and competing with the local people for the local customers, right, that would be a problem. But at the market, it's not only the local people at the market. People come from all over the place. And you know what? Not just customers, but sellers as well, and that's fine. But that is limited to the market day. But if it's not the market day, and therefore the only people that would be around would be the local people, well then they can't interfere with the local sellers. If Yom Deshuka Nami, and also on the market days, when they come to sell on the market days, they're allowed to sell in the markets. They can't start, walking around door to door and start making sales that way. No, they are welcome to come like everybody else, right? Just like the customers are welcome to come to the market, sellers are also welcome to come from outside the city and to sell in the market. But it's limited to the market days, and it's limited to the market, not to go around and sell things directly to people, to local people. Hanu amoroi de aisu amra lefum naira. There were these wool mongers who brought wool to a place called Pumnara. Also, Bnei Masa Kamakvel Ilavayu, and the local wool mongers were not okay with that. Also, the Kamid of kindness, so they came before of Kahana. Armulu, and he says to the wool mongers from the external wool mongers, Dinu Demakve Alaichu. Look, says Rav Kahana, the truth is that they have a point. Don't interfere with their business. You don't live here. Don't compete with their business. But the woolmonger said, wait, but listen, but hear us out. Islan Ashrai b'Masa. The thing is, we have provided wool to local woolmongers on credit, right? The local woolmongers bought wool from us on credit, and that after they sell the wool, they will pay us back. So we can't go anywhere until we can collect the money that we are owed for the wool that we laid out to the local mongers. And therefore, while we are here, we need to eat, we need to make a parnasa. So while we're here waiting to get paid, we have to be able to make a living and to sell. So Amar Lusov kind of says to them, okay, I hear that. Zilu zabnu shir chiyu saichu. Okay, so while you are here waiting to get paid, and you're going to have to make a living to eat, so yes, you can sell what is necessary in order to eat. Ad de akrisu ashroi didchu vezlisu, until you no longer are owed money, until you get paid back. And once you get paid back, continue on your way. Now we have a very interesting, I guess maybe we'd say, story that will take us till the Mishnah at the bottom of the Amud. Maybe, I don't know if interesting is the right description, but it's a very interesting story. Rav Dimi min Ardoya osi aisi grogris bisvina. So Rav Dimi min Ardoya came, it doesn't say where he came to. I can't say for sure it's Machoza. It very well may not have been Machoza, but I feel like it's just easier to say it's Machoza because Rava is going to be in this story. So, but they came to a place where the Reish Galusa was, where Rava was. Anyways, okay. So they came to this place where the Reish Galusa was and Rava was. Fine. So Amalei Reish Galusa le Rava. So the Reish Galusa, upon seeing that this person came to sell dried figs, and I guess maybe he thought that he might be a Talmud Chacham, this person. So Amalei Reish Galusa to Rava. So the Reish Galusa said to Rava, 1 second, it's going to be noisy for a second. Alright. Had to move a chair out of the way. Amalei Reish Galusa le Rava. So the Reish Galusa says to Rava, Poke Chazi Itzur Merabonanu, go and check, see who this person is that came to sell dried fruits, dried figs. See if he is a Talmud Chacham, and if so, Nakat Leishuka will give him the exclusive selling rights in the market. That I think we learned somewhere in Bava Mitzia. I think we learned about this that that a Talmud Chacham, they would get the exclusive selling rights in the market, right? So the Reish Galusa said to Rava, go check and see if this person is Talmud Chacham. If so, we'll give him the exclusive dried figs rights in the market. So Amalei Rava Rav Bar Abba. So Rava didn't go himself to give a faher to Rav Dimi min Ardoa. He sent Rav Bar Abba. Interesting. So the shaila is Rav Bar Abba, Rav Bar Ahava. Are there two Rav Bar Ahavas? Tosfos says, I've been dabbling in Tosfos a shtuko recently. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to fit Tosfos in over here. We'll see. But anyways, there is a Gavaldiga Tosfos that says, read it. Amalei Rava Rav Bar Abba. It's the third Tosfos in the daf. Ken Garsa ben Chananel. That's Rabbeinu Chananel's girsa. V'lo Gar Sinan Bar Ahava. We don't say it's Rav Bar Ahava. The also Hayu Bimei Rebbe. Because Rav Bar Ahava, of course, was a student of Rav, and he was alive during the days of Rebbe, and therefore we want to assume. So Tosfos wants to say, although Rashi I think seems to disagree. Rashi I think in Kiddushin, right? As Tosfos says, Kitabinu Kiddushin, Hayom Yoshev Rav Bar Ahava b'cheiko shel Avraham Avinu. So Rashi in Kiddushin wants to say that there was one Rav Bar Ahava who just lived for a really long time. Tosfos says that there were two. There was Rav Bar Ahava, who was the earlier one, and then the Tosfos is saying this is Rav Bar Abba. Okay, so we'll call him Rav Bar Abba. But sometimes you see Rav Bar Ahava, who seems to be from a later generation. So I don't know. It could be that sometimes this Rav Ada, maybe sometimes Rav Bar Abba is called Rav Bar Ahava. I don't know. It's interesting. So right, because for example here, Rava says to Rav Bar Abba. Right, so clearly Rav Bar Abba is a student of Rava. He's not a contemporary of Rebbe. So, or at least overlapping with Rebbe. So whenever and sometimes you see Rav Bar Ahava interacting with Rava. So it's the same person. Let's go weiter. So Amar le Rava le Rav Bar Abba Pok Toi le Bekankane. No, Rava says to Rav Bar Abba, and he borrows a phrase from smelling barrels of wine, right? Go and smell the barrel of wine to see what it's all about. I.e., go and give him a faher to see if he's a Talmud Chacham. So Nafak also ba mine. So Rav Ada bar Abba went and he asked Rav Dimi min Arda the following query, a very difficult query. Pil shel bala kfifa mitzris. If you have a elephant that swallowed an Egyptian basket, v'kiya derech beisarei, and excreted it via in his excrement. So the shaila is it still a kli, and is it mekabel tuma, or since it went through the digestive tract of the elephant, it's no longer a kli? Ma, what's the halacha lo hava biyadei? And Rav Dimi min Arda did not taka know the answer. Interesting. Okay, fine. So Rav Dimi min Arda did not know the answer, and then Rav Dimi min Arda says to Rav Ada bar Abba, right? Because clearly Rav Ada bar Abba was a Talmud Chacham, and Rav Dimi min Arda knew that he was going to a place where Rava was the preeminent sage, so he thought Rav Dimi thought maybe he was speaking to Rava. Marni Rava, are you Rava? Tofach le b'sandale. Rav Ada bar Abba jokingly, hit Rav Dimi min Arda, tapped him on the foot or something. Somehow, it was like, I don't know if he was being sarcastic. Whatever it was, he made some kind of a gesture, and he says, "Amrle ben didi le Rava ika tuva." No, you are not talking to Rava. Lahavdil keilu. Between me and Rava is quite a distance. Rava is on an entirely different level. Miu, however, based on our current faher and your failure of it, al korchech ono rabach, I am clearly your teacher because I stumped you. V'Rava Rabba the Rabach, and if I'm your teacher and Rava is my teacher, Rava is the teacher of your teacher. Okay. And b'sofo shel davar lo naktu leishuka, he failed the faher, and they did not give him the exclusive selling rights, and because of that, posted groigers dide, Rav Dimi min Arda's dried figs got all wormy, and he did not succeed in the market there. And he lost, right? It sounds like he lost, his schayr got ruined. Also, the comment of Yosef, so Rav Dimi min Arda was very, I don't know, sounds like he was definitely not very happy about what happened there. So he comes to Rav Yosef, Amalei, and he says to Rav Yosef, Chazi Mar, my Abduli, Rav Yosef, do you see what they did to me? They essentially caused me to lose my merchandise, to lose my dried figs. They all got wormy because they didn't give me the exclusive selling rights. Amalei, so Rav Yosef says to Rav Dimi min Arda, Man de lo shehiyeh leonise de malka de Edom, the Eibishter, the one who did not delay in punishing the disgrace of the king of Edom, lo nishaye leonisech, Hashem also should not delay in punishing your, right, the disgrace that you endured. Tichsiv, as the pasuk says, Koi Omer Hashem, so says God, Al Shlosha Pishei Moab, on 3 violations of Moab, Ve'al Arba, but the 4th, Lo Ashivenu. That's too much. Al Sarfu Atzmos Melech Edom Lasid, that they burnt up the bones of the king of Edom. So basically, Rav Yosef Be'etzim cursed Rav Ada bar Abba, that for disgracing Rav Dimi min Arda, noch nafshiv Rav Ada bar Abba, and sure enough, Rav Ada bar Abba died. So now that was a whole big deal. Rav Ada bar Abba died. All of the rabbis now were starting to think maybe he died because of me, and we're going to see a number of different rabbis who thought that maybe Rav Ada bar Abba died on account of them. Rav Yosef, obviously, Amar Ana Anishte, Do Ana Latyose. So Rav Yosef, of course, immediately felt, oh no, what did I do? I cursed Rav Ada bar Abba and he died. Oy vavoy. Rav Dimi min Arda, Amar. Now Rav Dimi min Arda also felt bad because, why did Rav Ada bar Abba die? Because, because of this whole incident. that Rav Dimi ben Arda came to this place, and Rav Ada bar Abba gave him a faher and this and that, and he went to Rav Yosef. So Rav Dimi ben Arda was feeling bad because, like, on account of his faher with Rav Ada bar Abba, because he went to sell figs, one thing led to the next, and it was because of him. He wanted, he was concerned that maybe because of him, that's why Rav Ada bar Abba died, essentially because of this whole mess with the faher. So Amar Ana Anishtei, it's my fault. The Afsid Groiger is Didi, because he made me lose my merchandise, my figs, and therefore I got upset, and I went to Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef cursed him and he died, but all because I went to sell my figs. Abaye Amar Ana Anishtei. Abaye said, maybe Rav Ada bar Abba died on account of me. This is very interesting. The Amar Lehu Rabbanan, because Rav Ada bar Abba would say to Rabbanan. I guess Rav Ada bar Abba was a chassid of Rava. He was a dedicated Talmud of Rava, and I guess, Abaye and Rava were contemporaries. Abaye and Rava, everybody knows Abaye and Rava, right? So it sounds like there was almost like a certain, maybe there was like a certain, like, what's the word? I feel like competition isn't the right word, but there was like what would be that word? That there was like, you have Abaye and Rava, and there was a certain, like, who's greater? The students of Abaye, I guess, say Abaye is greater. The students of Rava say Rava is greater. It's like a certain rivalry, maybe you could say, right? Meaning, I don't know to say that there was actually a rivalry between Abaye and Rava. I have to imagine that it wasn't between Abaye and Rava, but it sounds like it may have been the students. Imagine like Rebbes or something, and a chassid of this Rebbe, he swears by his Rebbe, and a chassid of that Rebbe swears by that Rebbe. So Rav Ada bar Abba was a chassid of Rava, and he says, Adigar misu garme be Abaye, while you're gonna settle for like munching on bones by Abaye. Come on, Tzu achlu bisr shmeina be Rava. Come to Rava, learn the good stuff. You'll get fatty meat by Rava. You can chew on bones if you go to learn by Abaye. Come to us, come to Rava, then you'll get the good stuff. You get the fatty meat. Anyways, so Abaye, right. So Abaye thought that maybe it was on account of him, meaning because he was like the target of Rav Ada bar Abba's kind of what's the word I'm thinking of? I think it's the word I'm thinking of starts with dis, or I don't know, maybe inappropriate. Maybe inappropriate is what I'm thinking of. Sort of remarks. So Abaye thought, oh no, because of those remarks about me, that's why Rav Ada bar Abba died. The Rava Amar, Rava said, Ono Anishtei, it was on account of me that he died. Because when Rav Ada bar Abba would go to the butcher, the Mishkol Umtza to chaparan meat, Omerlu, he would say to the butcher, the Tabache, Ono Shakilna Bisor Mikami Shame de Rava. If the attendant of Rava was there at the butcher at the time that Rav Ada bar Abba showed up, he would say, I get served before the attendant of Rava. Now he wouldn't say that he would get served before Rava, obviously not. But the attendant of Rava, right? He figured, I'm greater than the attendant of Rava. I should get served first. And Da'ana different because I'm greater than his attendant. And Rava thought maybe that would be considered disrespectful to him, to Rava, and maybe because of that, Rav Ada bar Abba died. Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak Omar says, Nachman bar Yitzchak, Ono Anishtei, it was on account of me that right there Rav Ada bar Abba died. To Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Reish Kala Hava. So this whole Reish Kala thing is like, it's a little bit confusing to me. It's like, what's this Kala thing? Is it like the weekly drasha on Shabbos? Is it like before the Shalosh Regalim? Is it a daily thing? We had the other day with Marbar of Ashi that like it's kind of like it's like the Rosh Yeshiva. So I don't exactly understand what this Reish Kala thing is, but Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, it sounds like it was betzim the Rosh Yeshiva, right? I don't know where. It sounds like it was betzim the Rosh Yeshiva, and he would give this Kala drasha, Kala Hava. And every day before he would give his shir, Mirait Baide Rav Ada bar Abba Lishmaite, and every day before the shir, Rav Ada bar Abba would do a chazar, would go over it with Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, and they would review it together, and they would do a chazar before the shir. Then Rav Nachman would give the shir. Rav Nachman Beitz would give the shir. How Yoma, now that day that Rav Ada bar Abba perished, Naktur Rav Papa Rav Huna Beit Rav Yeshua Rav Ada bar Abba, Rav Papa and Rav Huna Beit Rav Yeshua, went to Rav Ada bar Abba, stopped him. Mishum de lo Abba b'siyuma, because they weren't by. I guess Rashi gives different explanations. It seems that they weren't by. I guess Rava gave a shir, and they weren't at the end of the shir where they were talking about the last parak of Bechoris, and they stopped Rav Ada bar Abba because they wanted to hear what Rava had, what he had touched on the last parak in Bechoris. So Amrulay, so they said to Rav Ada bar Abba, Eimalon, nu, can you tell us, Haneshmaitza de Ma'aseh Be'ema, Hechi Aminu Rave? What did Rave zokt? Vozok Rave on the last parak of about Ma'aseh Be'ema, of Bechoris about Ma'aseh Be'ema. So Echi Aminu Rave. So Amalu. So Rav Ada bar Abba responded to her papa Rav Huna Beit Rav Yeshua. Achi Amar Rave, Achi Amar Rave. He said this, he said that. But Adahachi Naga led Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. But because Rav Ada bar Abba got stopped by her papa and Rav Huna Beit Rav Yeshua, he was late. He wasn't there to do Chazara with Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak before the shir, and it was getting late. Amalei Rabbanu Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. So now the rabbis who were there waiting for the shir to begin, they said to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Kum denogalon. No, it's getting late. Nu zokt. Lama Yosef Mar, why are you just sitting around? No, let's start the shir. Amalu, he says to them, Yasivna v'kam mintra la'arse to Rav Ada bar Abba. He says, well, I'm waiting for Rav Ada bar Abba's coffin to arrive. Kilu, I don't exactly know how to explain it. Maybe he was like joking, he was being light, he's like, Rav Ada bar Abba's always here. We always do the Chazara. Why? What happened? Did he die or something? But sure enough, and sure enough, the rumors started to emerge that Rav Ada bar Abba Taka is gestorben. And out of all of the possibilities, Rav Yosef, from Divrei Nardo, Abaye, Rava, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, says the Gemara, Mistama, it was Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, by saying that Rav Ada bar Abba is dead. So that is actually what caused Rav Ada bar Abba to perish. Okay, and now we get up to a new Mishnah. This Mishnah is like pretty technical, but I think it kind of moves. I don't know. Okay, here comes the Mishnah. Mishahaya. Okay, the Mishnah needs the Gemara to explain it. Mishahaya kosel samach lekosel chavero. If you have Reuven and Shimon, Shimon's wall is close to Reuven's wall. Lo yismach lo kosel acher. You shouldn't make another wall closer to Reuven's wall. Elim kein irchik menu arba amas, unless he distances it 4 amas. Hachlon is b'milmalim b'milmatim b'connected arba amas. The windows, whether above, whether below, whether opposite, need 4 amas. Cheve, we need to explain this Mishnah. So now, the Gemara assumes, so let's read the first line of the Mishnah again. The Gemara assumes that this is how to understand the first line of the Mishnah. Mishahaya koslo, samach lekoslo chaveru. If Shimon had a wall that was close to Reuven's wall, less than 4 amas away, it was very close to Reuven's wall, and it fell down. And now Shimon's going to rebuild the wall. Lo yismoch lo kosel acher elam ken yirchik menu arba amas. When he rebuilds the wall, he needs to distance it from Reuven's wall 4 amas. So frek the Gemara v'kame echi samech. But how was if you have to build the wall 4 amas away, well then how was the original wall built within 4 amas? You're not allowed to have it within 4 amas. Rav Yehuda says this is how to understand the Mishnah. No, it doesn't mean that there was a wall that fell down and they rebuilt it. No. What it's saying is that if Shimon wants to build a wall next to Reuven's wall, well, he's got to keep a distance of 4 amas. That's all it's saying. Maskef Rav. Rav asked the kasha on Rav Yehuda, or at least about what Rav Yehuda said. But the Mishnah says not that if somebody comes to build a wall, it needs to be 4 amas away. The Mishnah specifically says somebody who already had a wall that was close to his friend's wall. That he's coming to build it now for the first time. So Rava rather says Rav Achi Katani, this is Pshat in the Mishnah, Mishaya Koslo Samuch Koslo Chaveru Biri Chukdal Arba Amis. No, if somebody had a wall, if Shimon's wall was close to Reuven's wall, how close? 4 Amis away. That's how close. Vinofal, and then Shimon's wall falls down. Lo Yismoch Lo Kosel Acher Elam Ken Yirchik Mimenu Dal Amis. So when Shimon comes to rebuild his wall, he should keep a distance of at least 4 amas. And my time, how come? What's pshat with 4 amas? How come you need 4 amas between the walls? The reason is because if you have 4 amas between the 2 walls, that's enough room for people to walk there comfortably. And we want people to be walking there, because by walking there, you kind of pat down the earth. You tighten up the earth, strengthen the earth. And a stronger earth is a stronger sort of foundation, or I don't know what my brain seems to not be working so great. But, not for vocabulary. Would be a great, I don't know what you would, I feel like foundation is not the right word, but it would be a great I don't know, the stronger the earth, the more secure the wall is going to be. So therefore, Rava says you want to have 4 amas between the walls so that people will walk there, and by walking there, they're gonna strengthen the earth and that the wall is built into, and by strengthening the earth, you strengthen the wall. Less than 4 amas, people aren't going to walk there, and the wall is not going to be as strong, as sturdy. Omar Rav says Rav lo shanu ela kosel gino. So now Rav says when we have this interest in the 4 amas that people will walk there and strengthen and make the walls more sturdy, that's talking about the walls of a garden, because a garden you don't walk in there as much. Let's go weiter for a second. But the wall of a courtyard. So now a courtyard, as we know, that's where you would do all your stuff in the courtyard, right? Your courtyard was where you would, do all sorts of things in that courtyard. So now people are walking around in the courtyard, and they're on their own. The people of the courtyard are going to be using all parts of the courtyard and strengthening the walls just by kind of their own use of the courtyard. So therefore you don't need the Dalet Amas in that case. But if we're talking about a garden, where I guess you have stuff growing there, and you're not necessarily walking around there so much, you're just letting things grow. So in that case, people aren't walking there as much, so therefore you need the Dalet Amas between the walls so that people will at least walk between the walls and strengthen the ground that way. But in a chutzner where people are walking inside the chutzner anyways, so from that aspect, they'll be strengthening the wall by walking in the chutzner. So then you don't need the 4 amas. Rabbi Shaya says, Rabbi Shaya echad kosel gina ve'echad kosel chotzer im balismoch eno somech. Whereas Rabbi Shaya says, no, this halacha applies equally to a chotzer and a gina. You gotta have 4 amas between the 2 walls. Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina says, Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina v'lo plige, Rav and Rabbi Shaya Taka agree. It just depends. If it is a old city, an old established city where the ground's already been tread on for generations and generations, well then just in a gina where people aren't really walking in there so much, so have the 4 amas. But in a chutzner where people are anyways walking in the chutzner, and it's in a city where anyways the ground has been tread on plenty, so then you don't need to have the Dalet Amas for a chutzner. But if it's a new city where the ground is not as firm, well then even in a chutzner you're still going to want to have 4 amas between Shimon and Reuven's walls so that people will walk there and contribute to sturdying up the walls. Tanan, we learned, okay, fine. So we had said that the reason for the Dalet Amas between Shimon and Reuven's walls are to provide, to strengthen the earth. But Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, Hachloinis, the windows, right? If Reuven has windows in his wall, Ben milamaton, ben milamarlon, ben mikenegdon arba amos, whether below, whether above, whether opposite 4 amos. And we saw this on Daf Beis. But now here to explain what it means. V'tani alam, we talked about it, milamarlon kadei shelo yotzitz v'yireh, So we say, what does it mean that if Reuven has windows in his wall, so then Shimon needs to be above 4 amos, below 4 amos, opposite 4 amos? It means that if Shimon is going to build his wall higher than Reuven's windows, so then he needs to build it at least 4 amos above Reuven's windows, so that if he peeks over the wall, he won't be able to see into Reuven's windows. And also, if Shimon's wall is going to be lower than Reuven's windows, well, it has to be at least 4 amos lower than Reuven's windows, so that even if he stands on top of the wall, he still would not be able to see into Reuven's windows. And if it's opposite, and in terms of opposite Reuven's wall, Shimon's wall would have to be 4 amos away from Reuven's wall. How come? So as not to darken, to steal the sunlight from Reuven. Right? Meaning if Reuven has a window and he has sunlight coming to the window, if Shimon builds a wall, mamish right outside of Reuven's window, Reuven's gonna lose his light. So therefore Shimon needs to build the wall 4 amos away so that light can still get in. So time is shelo yaipil. So we see in this brisa that the reason why, so it's interesting. Our Mishnah had said 4 amos opposite, but the as we're going to see in a second, the brisa doesn't specifically say 4 amos opposite shelo yaipil. It just says mikenegdon shelo yaipil. But the point is that when Shimon needs to distance his wall from Reuven's wall, the purpose of that is so that Reuven can still get light into his windows. So we see time is shelo yaipil. So we see that the reason why Shimon needs to distance his wall from Reuven's wall is so that light will still be able to get into Reuven's windows. But the brisa doesn't say anything about sturdying up the land. So, and for the Gemara, you know what the brisa is talking about when it's talking about letting light in? Beba min hatzad. Oh my gosh, shtickle Erevin over here. It's talking about where Shimon's wall is perpendicular to Reuven's wall, opposite Reuven's window. So meaning, if Shimon's wall is parallel to Reuven's wall, well then you're going to want to have 4 amos separating so that people will walk there and it will sturdy up the ground, and it's going to start, and these walls are parallel, so you're going to walk in between, in like the alleyway between these 2 walls, and it'll sturdy up the ground and help maintain the walls. But here we're talking about where the brisa is talking about where Shimon's wall is being built perpendicular to Reuven's wall, I believe opposite the Reuven's window, and therefore, in terms of like strengthening up the ground, it's not really as much of a thing because it's just the thickness of the wall. It's not like you're going to be strengthening up a whole foundation. It's parallel to the windows. It's like literally when you walk, you're just going to walk by like the thickness of the wall, but no more. So therefore, strengthening up the land is not an issue. But since it's right opposite Reuven's window, well, we do have to be concerned about Reuven's sunlight being negatively affected. V'chama. Okay, so now how far does Shimon's perpendicular wall need to be distanced from Reuven's window? Right? Because again, in that brisa, all we said was, right, be kinegdon shelo yapil. Didn't say 4 amos. Our Mishnah said 4 amos, but the brisa didn't say 4 amos. So Omar Rivyev Chamua de Ashen by Nadbach Mishmei Derab Kimlo Rochov Cholon. The equivalent of the default width of a window, which is 1 tefach. So it needs to be 1 tefach away from the window. V'halo meitzitz, but can't Shimon then, peek over the wall into Reuven's window? Rav Zvid, b'mader es koslo, Rav Zvid said he builds his wall on some kind of a slant towards Shimon's wall, towards Reuven's wall, which somehow, I guess, prevents him from being able to peek over, I guess. Ve'onan tnan arba amos. Oh, But the thing is, now the Gemara says, one second, our Mishnah is talking about windows, right? What does it say? It says, Achlonos, so our Mishnah is clearly talking about windows. So if we're talking about windows, then clearly our Mishnah is also concerned about light being blocked. And our Mishnah talks about 4 amas, not 1 tefach. So where am I? 4 amas, not 1 tefach. It's a little confusing. I'm not sure I understand this, but I might understand it. That I don't know if actually I'm not sure. I don't know if the Gemara just pulled like a quick one, because the way I was understanding it until now is that we're talking about Shimon. That Bryce is talking about where Shimon built a perpendicular wall to Reuven's wall, right opposite his window, and we're saying that it needs to be a tefach away. But now we're talking about Meruach achas kamishte ruchas. All of a sudden we're talking about the wall maybe wasn't opposite Reuven's window, but it was on one side of Reuven's window, and it depends if there was only one wall or if there were 2 walls. Was there only one wall to one of the sides of Reuven's window, or were there 2 walls on either side of Reuven's window? So if there's one wall next to Reuven's window, so it would have to be 1 tefach away from the window, like to the side of it, I think. I'm not super clear. That's what the diagram of the art school, because you need diagrams here. The diagram of the art school seems to be on the side. It's hard to tell a little bit. But up until now, I thought we were talking about opposite. And then anyways, if there are 2 walls on either side of the window, so those walls would need to be separated by 4 amas in order to preserve the light, I guess, for Reuven. Okay. Tashma kamanir v'esakoso min amazchila daled amas. Now, another question, right? Meaning, again, we had said, right, Rav had argued that the reason for the distance of 4 amas between 2 walls is to strengthen the foundations. But we have the Mishnah that we're going to, the very next Mishnah, in just a few lines from now. So, it says, so if Reuven has a gutter on his roof, Shimon needs to distance his wall 4 amas from the gutter, so that Reuven has enough space to be able to lean a ladder against his gutter. So the reason for the 4 amas is so that Reuven has enough space to lean a ladder on the gutter if he needs to, of his roof if he needs to. But it doesn't say anything about, keeping the walls sturdy. This is talking about a roof that like overhangs the walls, right? It's not flush with the walls of the house, it kind of overhangs the walls. So you have Shimon's wall, Reuven's wall, and then you have the roof that kind of overhangs the wall, and we're saying that Shimon needs to have 4 amas from the gutter so that Reuven can lean his ladder on the gutter. But in terms of patting down the ground, we don't need the 4 amas for that, because people are going to walk under, it sounds like under the gutter anyways, right? They walk under this, I guess they'll walk under this overhang, I guess is where they're going to walk. And in terms of the 4 amas from the gutter, that is specifically then so that Reuven would be able to lean a ladder against it. All right. Yeah, that got super technical at the end. But that was the Avchapez of Masechta BavaBasra. The Amud Aleph was interesting. There was an interesting story there, right, with Rav Dimi ben Arda and Rav Ada bar Abba and Rav and the Reish Galusa. Very interesting. And then we got to a very technical Mishnah about distances between walls and windows and gutters and things like that. Peace out.